My video for October the 11th, 2019, video number 3233, is entitled Clothing Rascals in Robes and Honesty in Rags. Mary Elizabeth Lease, a populist orator, said in 1890, quote, "Wall Street owns the country. Our laws are the output of a system which clothes rascals in robes and honesty in rags. The political parties lie to us, and the political speakers mislead us. Money rules." End quote. Wow. And that was 130 years ago. Nothing changed except it got worse. Eugene Debs said, quote, "It is the minorities who have made the history of this world. It is the few who have had the courage to take their places at the front, who have been true enough to themselves to speak the truth that was in them, who have dared oppose the established order of things, who have espoused the cause of the suffering, struggling poor, who have upheld without regard to personal consequences the cause of freedom and righteousness. It is they, the heroic, self-sacrificing few, who have made the history of the race and who have paved the way from barbarism to civilization. The many prefer to remain upon the popular side." End quote. Some of us are still trying to pave the way, while most are lulled to sleep. They were both products of the 19th century in America. Now, quite honestly, I never heard of either one of them. So I had to at least get a thumbnail of who they were. So Mary Elizabeth Lease was an American lecturer, writer, and political activist. She was an advocate of the women's suffrage movement, as well as temperance, but she was best known for her work with the People's Party. She was born to Irish immigrants on September 11th, 1850, in Ridgeway, Pennsylvania. Eugene Victor Debs was an American Democratic Socialist political activist and trade unionist, one of the founding members of the Industrial Workers of the World, and 5 times the candidate of the Socialist Party of America for President of the United States. He was born on November 5th, 1855, in Terre Haute, Indiana. Again, I never heard of either one of these people, but I get quotes from Publishers Clearinghouse almost every day. And some of them I save and I want to make videos about. And I have actually quite a few quotes that I'd like to make videos on, but that hasn't happened yet. They're still sitting in my computer on a list in a particular file. Anyway, I've also been trying to get other people to make videos with me, and I do have someone scheduled for tomorrow, and I'm hoping to line up 1 or 2 others for later in the ensuing week from now. Anyway, I find these people that were in the 19th century way ahead of their time. Now, some people would say, "Ron, they were liberals." Yes, they were liberals. Women's suffrage, if you don't know what that was, women did not have the right to vote in the 19th century. And it took them a while to get there, but Mary Elizabeth was one of the women that was pushing to get women the right to vote. Now, I should have looked up exactly what year women were allowed to vote for the first time. I'm not exactly sure. It might have been after the First World War, but I might be wrong on that. I did not look it up. But here's 2 people, as I said, that were pushing for more equality. And I'm all in favor of that. And Ron, people might say, "But Ron, aren't you a conservative?" Yes, I'm a conservative on some things. I'm a liberal on other things. There is no liberal person. There is no conservative person. If someone is only one or only the other, chances are they've been brainwashed very well and they can't think outside the box. I'm an outside the box thinker. I've always challenged the status quo since I was a teenager and will continue to do so as long as I have breath. I want to see a world that works for the benefit of all of humanity, regardless of the gender, regardless of the race, regardless of the nationality, regardless of that, all the things that have been used to divide us. And yet I have somebody that says, but Ron, you support Trump's wall. Yes, people that move from one country to another need to go through the proper channels. Now, I agree, the channels have been occluded for most people, which means that many people are blocked from requesting citizenship in other countries. But the truth is, if in all of the other countries there were fair wages and good opportunities and people had enough food and were treated well, they wouldn't be seeking to go to some other country because they'd be happy in the place where they were. And we each need to grow in the place that we are. It's not about continually looking for something out there. We've got to find something in here. As my friend Steve says continually, it's not out there, it's in here. Well, it's both. And I continue to say that. It's not an either or proposition, but we do need to, at first, look within ourselves. We need to find within ourselves the courage to stand up to injustice, as both of these individuals, Mary Elizabeth and Eugene Victor, did in the 19th century. These were people that were setting an example way ahead of their time. And still, here in the 21st century now, many people still don't have equal opportunity. They've given us the appearance of making a vote matter, but I know votes don't matter. It's not who votes, it's who counts the votes that matters, because that's what produces the final result. And I know from personal experience, not because somebody else told me it happened to them, but from personal experience where I voted for a particular candidate, Ron Paul, in a primary election. And I knew a whole bunch of other people that also voted for Ron Paul because we were part of the Ron Paul committee here in Florida. And he got, according to the newspaper, the local newspaper, in the primary, the results were published and he didn't get any votes at all. Imagine that, when there are at least 20 people or so that I personally knew that were part of the Ron Paul team. And he didn't get any votes in our county. Doesn't make sense. Folks, liars have been at the top of the political structure for a long time. And it's not just the political structure, because if it was just the political structure, there could be more equality. But the truth of the matter is, it's the money structure that controls both sides of political parties. And he was a candidate for the Socialist Party. The Socialist Party hasn't put anybody even on the ballot, as far as I know, in my lifetime. Now, that could be wrong. There might be candidates that I don't know. I only usually think of the Democrat and the Republican, although I do remember, who was it? That was an independent back in Ross Perot. And I supported Ross Perot, and he was not a Republican. He was an independent candidate, or a non-Republican or Democrat. Anyway, the party names mean nothing. Again, it's who counts the votes. And even in the election that was so contested in the last American presidential election, that is still being contested by Hillary Clinton and many of the Democrats, and they just want to impeach Trump and get him out of there and put their candidate in, and she's a crook, folks. When she's a heartless woman. She doesn't have any. Oh my goodness, I went overtime. I wasn't watching the clock. Anyway, I do thank you folks for listening. And again, we need to pay attention. Thank you for listening, and namaste.